Well, super excited. I'm Superintendent Don Kilovic, and I'm here with our Director of Business Operations and Human Resource, um, Anna Wamack. Anna, tell me a little bit about yourself, both personally and professionally, because the listening audience might not know who you are.
Sure. So I have been here at Hemlock for about 3 years as the Director of Business Operations and HR. Have been in school finance for about 6 years now. Personally, I am married to my husband Dave. We'll be celebrating our 10th wedding anniversary next month. And we have two little boys. Matthew is 4.5 and Alex is 19 months.
So, one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about today is our August election. People are getting their ballots now, and there's two items on the ballot that impact Hemlock Public School District. One that the district has put on the ballot, and one that the Saginaw ISD has put on the ballot. Let's talk first a little bit about the operational millage. Can you tell me a little bit about what is there? It's an 18 mil um, non-homestead millage, and so what does that mean?
Sure. So it is a 18 mil non-homestead operating millage. It impacts pretty much everyone but personal homeowners. So your businesses, your rentals, your second homes. And what that does is it brings in about $1.7 million into the school district. And it is factored into our state aid payment. So our amount that we get per pupil is divvied up for the state's portion and a portion based on property taxes from this 18 mils.
So across the state of Michigan, if I'm understanding correctly, everybody votes on this 18 mils.
Yes.
So and then that 18 mils is deducted. So this next school year, let's say we're just going to keep even numbers. We're going to get 9,000 per pupil, and then depending on your school district, they tally that up, and then they minus what you're going to generate locally, and that could vary drastically. You said for us it's about 1.7 million.
Correct.
And so what does $1.7 million mean in terms of our annual budget?
Sure. So in terms of our annual budget, that would be the equivalent of almost 25 teachers. It is something where if we did not have that, we would need, I think, almost 250 students additional to make up for that difference.
Well, wait a second. So those 250 students would also need teachers.
Would also need teachers.
So
yes.
our costs would rise too. So there's no way to really make that equation, right?
No, there really isn't, because exactly if you add those 250 students to make up for your $1.7 million loss,
we need about 10 teachers.
You would need more teachers, which raise your costs, and it's a continuous equation that you're never going to equal out.
So across the state of Michigan, my understanding is this ever not passed in a school district? I mean, I know some districts have had to go more than once, but is this ever not passed?
Not to my knowledge.
Yeah. So across the whole state of Michigan, when schools go out for their operational renewal, this typically passes.
Correct.
We have always gone either August or November with this election. I think this year we're going with the August because there is a little bit of a cautionary, because if we have to go back out, we'll have to go back out in November. We can't operate the school without 1.7 million. If it wasn't, so 25 teachers, that equates to it's more than a third of our teaching staff.
Yes.
So what's some other things?
It's also equivalent to about, I think, 24 buses, over 7,000 Chromebooks.
Wow. So we don't even have 7,000
No.
Chromebooks, right? So it would literally be our technology for years and years and years to come. So this is a big number for us. It does mean something. It doesn't generate any more dollars, though, right? I mean, it's
Correct.
basically the same. It just fills in that gap that's created from the state funding.
Exactly. I mean, when the state looks at a per pupil foundation amount and how much they determine to give to schools, your local property taxes are taken into account, and they pretty much anticipate that this 18 mils is being covered by your local population. So if the community were to go no, for example, it doesn't really increase what we're going to be getting from the state. It just leaves us with a gap.
Yeah. And there's some schools that actually that 18 mills generates more than the per pupil foundation allowance. Like schools like Harbor Springs, Mackinac City, are just a couple in like northern Michigan where second homes are major players, along the lakefront. They actually generate more money um, than the per pupil foundation allowance. In our case, it's less than the per pupil foundation, but still pretty significant. This would have a huge impact on our budget. So we're obviously encouraging people to be informed, make sure that they understand if they're just a homeowner, this does nothing to their taxes. It's just a signifying of supporting your local school. If you're a business owner, it's paying that 18 mills that you've been paying, so it's not an increase. If you own second homes, there's not a ton of that here, but there are some rental properties. It's maintaining that same tax rate. And if it's not passed in August, it's something we're going to go back out again for. And so, it's going to be one of those things where we'd rather the community understand, vote appropriately, than have to continue to go back out. So the other thing that's on the ballot isn't a Hemlock Public School District initiative, but it will impact us. So tell me a little bit. There's a Saginaw ISD millage that's on the ballot. Tell me a little bit about it.
Sure. So the Saginaw ISD millage that they're going out for is a special ed millage. What that would do would be bring in money at the county level that then gets dispersed to local districts like us. For our special ed services, we do contract through the Saginaw ISD for a lot of services like our physical therapy, our speech language pathologist, occupational therapy, or psychologist, things of that nature. And so what this would do, it would help decrease the burden of finances that would have to go out to the Saginaw ISD for those services and decrease the amount that we would have to pay, freeing up those funds to be able to use for other things within our district.
So if this is successful, and it doesn't necessarily, it's not dependent upon our community to pass it, it's through the whole county.
Correct.
So the county passes it, the taxes levied throughout the county, including our community. And what will happen is, my understanding is we won't be billed. And so the services that we've been paying 300, 400,000 plus annually for will not be billed back to the district, which will then create additional dollars that we can spend on kids here. So Anna, if this passes, one of the things will happen is the district will not get this bill back, and so we're going to generate $300,000 to $400,000 through this, that then will be able to be used locally. For me, one of the things that we're looking at is obviously social emotional learning. How to best support kids. What are some things we can do to make sure that we're meeting the needs of our students and families? But what are some other things that we might invest dollars in?
We would be looking at increased opportunities for students. We would look at continued innovation amongst the district. And exactly as you said, social emotional learning opportunities for students would be a large focus that we could divert these funds into.
The other thing too, I think is trying to maintain our low class sizes.
Yes.
Right now we have low class sizes, but as cost rises, that's always a difficult balance. And so with inflation and those other things, it allows us to take a big look at our class sizes across our district, which are favorable now, but in the future, how do we maintain that? So Anna, what are some of the things that are on the horizon for the business operations and HR? I know that over the last several years, we've been working really hard. Our district has not only balanced budgets, we've gotten to a threshold where we're not borrowing money. We're doing great things. We have long-term agreements with our both unions, our support staff and our teaching unions. We have a lot of great things going on. But what are some things that we're working on right now that people might not know about?
Sure. My office is continuing to analyze our processes, making sure that they're as effective and efficient as possible. And one of the things that we have coming down the horizon that I'm very excited about is that we are restructuring our application process for job opportunities. We will be going away from our current model of just emailing in resumes and cover letters and have a completely online application portal where applicants will be able to apply right there and be able to track their process through the entire interview process.
Oh, that's exciting.
It is.
So, who are we partnering with for that?
We are partnering with Fast Track through Skyward.
Okay, so Fast Track through Skype for that. I know your office is also looking at some Gallup,
Yes.
some things where we would measure the engagement of our employees, and then also some strength finding things where we're looking at that as well, and how do we best utilize everybody on the team.
I'm Anna Wamack, and I'm a Hemlock Husky.